familiarize ourselves as much as possible with an Indian that is really, really interesting. So it says like this in Drush Dalet. Here we go. It says, "Be'inyan alayla makusher im ha-nizkar." So I'm not sure what we were talking about before. So he said, "Be'inyan alayla kavorcha daticho." I'm reading across the top. I'm sorry. Kuf Dalet. Kuf Dalet.
Not Drush. It says Drush Gimel. No.
What did I say?
You said Drush Dalet, I think.
Okay.
Drush Gimel, yeah.
Yeah, it's Kuf Dalet Drush Gimel. So we'll read the top a little bit, but we should just pick it up and start going again. There's enough in here to review it anyway. So whatever we were talking about. He says, "Kavarho daticho, ech chutzrechoch hashena v'chatar dema v'hapel al ha'adam l'tzorach ha'nesira haba achreho." So sleep and nesira. Nevoir ata od inyana. So we're going to learn a little bit more. Let's skip over to the next one, and then we'll start picking up the tiv also. So he says, one second. So he said, "Be'esa sheda olim anushamos leman le'orech avazivag dechatzos alayla v'al yadav mischadshim anushamos." So our going to sleep actually has a lot to do with what goes on in the blessing. Let's say number bet. Naki kamosha ba'arno shemishta shenishmal seinu anachnu olam lamala b'kol halayla b'hiyos gufuseinu yusheni nidamim. The way he wrote this, shenishma seinu anachnu olos. So when he said it like that, so why didn't he just say Shemishna Seinu Olos Lamala? Why do you say Anachnu? Which means that Anachnu to me means is that we actually are intending something. There's some intention there. Not just that they go up by themselves, but that's what it sounds like. Olos Lamala Laila B'Chabihios Gufusenu Yushena V'Nidarim V'Nirdomim, I don't know. So this causes man. This is what brings up to the Avsag Da'ak. So again, this is the Neshamos need this. So that they could come back and be renewed. So it begs a question, is that why do they need to be renewed? But that's what he says, because there's a lot going on that causes a lot. Let's see what he says. In the light print, he says a number of bet. This boyer la'era b'drush in the fidas apayim. The b'shah sha'ana b'necha adam ha'tachtonim yeshenim. So now we're sleeping. Olas nishbaseinu l'mala b'sod man. Yachadim b'burich ha'malachim ha'olam atach l'histakim, along with the birurim and the malachim that are also going up. They're going up to be mistakim. So all of this, which is going up now, of all of them, gormim as a zivug elyon and asim b'chatzos alayla, and they cause this. More light print. So he says we're on number Gimel. Lias and the shamas laman milvad shehu b'gedei la'oirech b'zivug. And besides that, who gam the tzorach chiddush and the shamas. So that's part of that idea that we had there. What does it mean, chiddush and the shamas? And now he's going to say this is specifically what we have to start looking at. What does it do? It's mechadish as the yisod the nuk, the kli of the yisod of the nuk. So this also, he says, by renewing the kli of the yisod of the nuk, it makes it possible for you that the mischadshim gan the neshama she'al l'sham. It also does this. Not sure that I really got that clear in my mind exactly how that works, but let's go on. So the next topic is bisman abayis. How you zivik the panim b'panim b'bisman hazeh da'ach ba'ach. So he said. So let's read it. He says the fi shebisman shehoya beis mikdash kayim. The upper zivug was the bechinas panim b'panim. L'chotzin neshamas chadashos, in order to bring out new neshamas. Avach v'achar ha'churban ein ha'tefilus shalano mo'ilus rak lefi shah. So then, therefore, now it's temporary. Lahavi neshamas chadasha bebechinas ach ba'ach belvad. I don't know what he means, rak lefi shah, because the next line says, Lahavi neshamas chadashas, it should bring in the neshamas chadashas, but it sounds like it's temporary. Now, let's see if I can figure out how this goes along. I don't remember. I didn't look at it last night. You want to read this number Gimel?
Yep.
Okay, let's look at number Gimel. He says, "Lefi shebizman shechol yabeis mikdash kayim." Let me get this on the page again. Shebizman shechol yabeis mikdash kayim. So things change from panim to panim to ach to ach. So now he has to explain this. He says, a Rav what? Machalik, bein zaman beis hamikdash, lizmanenu anu, rak be'inyan azivag na'as b'yom. Shebizman beis hamikdash, koya nimshachos neshamas chadashos, the bechinas b'panim b'panim. The vizman azeh nimshachos rak neshamas, the bechinas ach ba'ach. So he kind of filled it out a little bit. It says that the aspect question is what's the difference between the two? Who rock lachadesh as in the shamas below mavur im bahazivuk the chatzas alayla gam yesh chiluk bein zaman beis hamikdash the zamanenu olo. Let's go on. He says a little bit more. So he says in the portion. But before Shem, that's the Yaf Shaar, he says, and the Shem and Sasam, Hevina b'divrei harav, they understood this. Begam be'inyan the zivur dachatzos alayla yesh chiluk b'neihem, there's a difference between the time of the bias and not. The rak atach bizman azecha hazivur the lailu, moil rak l'chadesh as in the shamas. So now he said bizman azeh, it's only coming to renew the shamas. Am the bizman of bias. Okay, so now he says, besides the fact that it also is mechadesh that those the neshamas yishanos, it also brings in new neshamas. Now, the question is, what does it mean? I mean, what does it mean to have a polished, or let's say a polished neshama versus a completely new one? So a new one, he's telling you, is a higher level, but exactly what's the qualitative difference between them? Other than the labels, we understand what he's talking about. If it's man beis hamikdash, achidah v'bein zivuk hayom v'lahaylo koyah l'halon. B'chazivah d'yom koyah molid neshama chodasha d'b'pechid b'panim b'panim. That's what happens in the morning. Again, what's the difference between ach to ach and panim b'panim? So then, at the time of the churban, everything fell. But there are new neshamas. But the neshamas are the aspect of ach ba'ach, which is mean it's not a real. I'm just trying to put some idea into my question. Is the real transfer of seed for building the world? That's if you're panim b'panim. But if there's a yichud that's ach ba'ach, then how does that go? So he said, but the Laila doesn't bring it at all. But rather it only comes and it renews in the Neshamas Yeshana. So now he's going to say this. The Kamen Sha'ata Yardach Zivugim. So now since the Vugim have gone down a level, they're no longer panim b'panim. So that's part of the pattern that he wants to teach us. So we see this later on. Now this is another idea. What is the yichud? So what is the yichud of the zivug of Bia Rishonim? It means the preparation, I believe, of the yisod of the nukva. That's what we've seen in other places. And in order to that is necessary in order for the yichud to take place in the day. The Bia Rishona I Asher Laholit. So this is the concept of the yichud of ach ba'ach that doesn't reproduce. So what does that mean? I'm not sure what that means. So therefore he says, how is it possible? How can you get neshamas chadashos v'shemel b'zman habayis azivug v'layla choy zivug gomor? Maybe over there it was in fact a complete yichud mishum shadol v'choya histalkus amochin because of v'chol remain. So let's go on. Let's read a little bit more. So it went on in the word of the Rav. It went on and it said Pane b'pane l'chotzin nesham v'chadashos avacham achar chuben. Ain tefillas, so we have number 4 and number Daled, we have number Hey over here, maybe, yeah, we'll see. So Shalom Me'ilos Rak Lefi Shah, so he says they're temporary, that idea of being temporary. Lahavi Neshama Chadasha Bebechinas Ach Ba'ach, as we said before. Again, a little idea of what Ach Ta'ach means. It doesn't really reproduce, then what does it do? So let's go down to the bottom and look at number Daled. Number Daled says like this: So after the Churban, the aim tefillas or shalom and mo'ilas, it doesn't help. Rock the fisha only momentarily. The haved the shabbat chadash bebechinas ach ba'ach bilvad. So there's another fact about ach ba'ach. It sounds like it doesn't last, or it's temporary. Mavur, so he says, explain like this. Mavur kan. The kodem hachurban, hoy chazivog the yom bebechinas panim bepanim. B'la'achar churban, we just said that, who rock bebechinas ach ba'ach the choyrach bekasha. The harim mavura bekama bekomos. Shechazivog ana'asa bebirchasim shalom, who zivog the panim bepanim. So he says, if they say that's pana, that's what we see in the Rashash. So then, but that means there is a yichud pana. So you just said there isn't. The Yashay B'zos Biyach Mefarshim, that's the Shem and Sason once again, and the Gobi. He says Oz Beis and the Gobi, Oz Hey. As Masha Kasa Rebeta B'Shachar B'Mitzvah, he says like that, V'zal D'Shama, all of the Shamas Ba'os Achar Churban Abayis, so all of the Shamas that come after the destruction of the temple, Afal Pi Shiyavach B'Bechinas Zivug Panim B'Panim, even though he says, Shiyavach, they come in that, where there's a Yichud Panim B'Panim, Ein Nechshavas Ela Ge'ilu Ba, they're only considered, though, even so, to be a yichud ach ba'ach ad kan l'shama. What does that mean? That the yichud itself takes place that way. But if you look at it in the relationship, I guess he means it's ach ba'ach. Hashem and now Shem and Sasan comes over and he wants to explain like this. Al Piram Babor Rashash, he said, Becharichos Kama Mini Zibugim Sheyesh Number Abba Ve'iba Ve'Yisrael Sav V'Davuna, V'Amulam Mekulam Hu Zivug Degar. Okay, so let's say this is an interesting idea in the Rashash anyway. He says he divides it up so that you can have a yichud of the top part, the top third, let's say, call it the top third. So if I said Rosh Tok Sof like that, you have a yichud there, you have the yichud in the toch, and you have the yichud in the sof. You could have all these yichudim. So the ma'ulam mekolam is going to be the gar shalachem. V'zivik zera b'nipsak me'az ha'churban. So that particular yichud of the gar, which is panim b'panim, gar b'gar, which means the whole parts of. He said v'zivik zera nipsak me'az ha'churban. That is the yichud that is really what we're talking about, is the panim b'panim ein sham. The mokain caused the benar shalom. We had the habiburim v'chatikunim and the asab yamosachol Hein parts of ach and nikro vok v'nikro chitzonius. In other words, it does not include the gar. It's only talking about the vok, which is the body and downwards, the malchus. And their tikkun actually takes place as a result of Yisrael Savatavunach and Nikroim Gam came Vok the Hitzonis Be'erek Abba V'ima Elohim, because they also are going to represent the Vok, the lower part of Abba V'ima. So therefore, they're going to be on the outside too, because again, that rule is that whatever is lower is also further outside. V'osa Zivug, the Yemosa Chol. Now let's go back to the Yichud during the weekday. It's not a complete and total yichud of what we call zuna gedolim, ela the Yaakov Rachel. Now, what does that mean? So he says, because in other places I see that Yaakov and Rachel is really like it's a yichud that takes place at the bottom. The one that takes place at the bottom is the one that really is the most powerful one, I think, in a certain sense, because that's where the real load of Mayan Nukvin is found, in the bottom. So let's see, then you're going, this is what we call panim. Who parts of panim, the call masha nisakim b'shesha shemei, because everything that we brought up, my words, during the weekdays, to fit my metaphor here, during the weekdays, is b'shes yimei achol v'oz who's zivug shlim l'zun. So then the whole zun has a big time yichud. Ki gavar yesh lechem chayad the klalos atzilus ba'abba v'ima Elohim, because now you have Abba v'ima Elohim, which would be the gar ad gan devarav. This is where he wrote. V'zecha v'muvim the chazivugim the yomim ha'chol. Al av shehem zivugi panim b'panim, that we say, okay, they're panim b'panim, but because malcolm nikroim hem zivum da'ach, and because kevan shehem b'bechinas ach the zun, because they really represent the backside of zun. Our zun represents a backside to the higher level of a backside or the lower side, because of the Hashem Shasa that the Fi says. According to that, then tzarich lomer the Rebbeinu Mayri Hocha. What is he talking about here? Be'ini the zivug the Yemel Sachol, the Eilach zivug the Shabbos, Heim kol bebechina b'panim b'panim, the heim kain bebechina b'panim b'panim. They're going to be panim b'panim b'ayin. There's more b'besaras Hakavanot masha shenida Hashem and Sason. That's the Girsukan lefi zeh. So we had some different ideas there. The idea being that the gar is really what produces the complete and total zivug. Today we have a yichud which is maybe considered panim b'panim, but it doesn't have the gar. That's where I understand it. I'm sorry. Let's see a little bit more.
Nope. Gotta go.
Oh, we're done already? Wow. Okay, thank you, Rabbi. Thank you. Call to.